Happy Turkey Day. Dyze in your house. Exclusively on East Coast Radio. A 1,000-mile journey begins with one step. Progressives took that step on November 6th. The journey's not over, but we took a step in the right direction.
If you don't know what Staten Island is, it's like New York's abortion that lived.
Did you see New York 11 elected a Democrat? New York 11 is Staten Island, the most Trumpian place in New York City. Elected a Democrat. Don't try to tell me it wasn't a wave. Robert Mueller isn't the only person investigating Trump now. We have the House Intel Committee is now chaired by Adam Schiff, and they have subpoena power. And he will use it. And he will get to the bottom of this, like he's been trying to do for the last 2 years, and Devin Nunes has been stymieing him. Devin Nunes is no longer the chairman. The midnight runs to the White House are over. I made a promise to the listeners of East Coast Radio that if the Democrats did not mess up November, that if November 6th went our way, that we would have a little fun here on East Coast Radio. And if you stay tuned, I promise you this. Along with our fighting fascism and trying to save democracy, we will have a little fun. Because we earned it. Keep it locked to East Coast Radio. Remember, we got Dyze in your house at the end of the week. We got the J Parks podcast at the beginning of the week. Every week, East Coast Radio for the least heard voices. Get us on Patreon, patreon.com/JParks, and follow us on Twitter at East Coast Radio. Let's punch fascism in the face, one podcast at a time.
If you don't know what Staten Island is, it's like New York's abortion that lived. Representing Staten Island. Staten Island was no joke.
Hey, yo, who's in the house? Dyze in your house. What is the word, peeps? What goes on? It is Thursday, it is Turkey Day, and we are back with another action-packed edition of Dyze in your house here on East Coast Radio. That's East Coast Radio for the least heard voices. What does that mean, you might ask yourself? Well, when I say least heard voices, I mean, like, I'm not talking about podcast listeners. I mean, there's a lot of people that listen to me speak in general. But since 2016, that number has dwindled. Because I care about things like human rights and equal opportunities for everybody. And I don't like seeing black people get murdered in the middle of the street. And I don't like hearing about journalists getting slaughtered. Because of all that, all of my friends have left me. Everyone who has ever supported me in my life, most of them, have flocked away like seagulls who have been tossed a terrible piece of bread that they do not want to be near. Bread is almost as bad as my analogies. So you might ask yourself, Jay, if nobody cares what you say, why are you bringing us 2 podcasts a week instead of 1? Well, I'll tell you. The beginning of the week, Sunday night, Monday morning, you get the J Parks podcast. That is the long form, 90-minute show. We have J Parks presents the thread count. We dive into the Mueller probe, corruption in Washington, especially in the White House. These are not normal times. These are not normal circumstances, and we can never treat it like it is. I am going to use whatever platform I have, even if that means not deleting Facebook. No, I have not deleted Facebook yet. I need to get people to listen to my podcast. So it's not a feasible thing for me to do. I understand that there's not that many people on Facebook who are actually going to click on my podcast and listen to it. But for the one or two that might, make it happen. Listen, I mean, I never gave Facebook my social security number or anything. What can they possibly want from me? Are they going to steal my identity and take my student loan debt? I mean, if anyone wants to steal my identity, they're not going to get anything out of it. They're going to get no credit. They're going to get bills, bank statements, a bank account with 27 cents in it. They're really not going to get much out of stealing my identity. So if Facebook wants to monitor my life, I mean, I've always been that type of guy that I never thought the government wasn't monitoring my life. So it is what it is. But I figured I'd make it easier, and I'd scream into a microphone. Because things are important. Things like democracy. Things like American values. Things like free elections. And as Americans who want to enjoy this country, calling it the greatest country in the land, air quotes, the land of the free, home of the brave. Well, if we want to enjoy the fruits of our country, then we need to start, paying attention to the things it was founded on, the things it was built. That begins with Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is about, when the Pilgrims and the Native Americans got together and they shared recipes. No, that's not what happened. The Pilgrims made the Native Americans serve them food. It's called slavery. It's the thing that Christopher Columbus brought over here, remember? They noticed these guys didn't have weapons, and they were like, oh man, easy pickings. So that's what Thanksgiving's about. It's not about family. It's not about caring. It's not about trading blankets for corn. It's not about any of that. The Pilgrims had guns, and they were getting whatever they wanted. And that's the story of America, really. Guns, weaponry. Just like, see kids get killed in the street. Kids get killed in school. People getting killed in synagogues. People getting killed in Turkish consulates. Journalists. American residents with American children, citizen children. And that's where we're going. Because Dyze in Your House really takes one story, and we talk about that for a couple of minutes. Because 90 Minutes, J Park's podcast, there's several threads to follow, and it's, if I take one of those threads, I can't talk about one thing in the Russia probe without diving into a couple of other things. So I take something from the wackiness that was the week. Like if the CIA found that the Crown Prince, Mohammed bin Salman, ordered the hit on Jamal Khashoggi at the consulate. Like if the CIA determined that assessment and some asshole who was elected by a couple of white nationalists, some Russians, and Vladimir Putin, if he's going to stand there and say, he might have, he might not have. Doesn't really matter. Not going to throw away business. This might sound like a repeat episode. I know there has been a episode of Dyze in Your House where we talk about Jamal Khashoggi. It was like 2 days after the story broke. And we just laid out all the information we had at the time. And usually, I'll admit it, when I'm telling a story about things that have been reported on the news, I usually would go to worst case scenario because I'm an alarmist, crazy person, and, I have a podcast, so, it's better for me to get excited about things like that. Not excited, but, I said, I hear they chopped him up with a bone saw. That was a joke. That was supposed to be a joke. And I know it's not something to joke about. Maybe not a joke. That was supposed to be hyperbole. That was supposed to be me saying something to say, well, that can't be true. They might have killed this guy. But there's no way that someone showed up with a bone saw and hacked him to pieces. And it was on tape. And the Secretary of State heard that tape, who used to be the director of the CIA. There's no way that that person would hear that tape and then be yucking it up with MBS later in the week. That wouldn't happen. That's not real life. Unfortunately, it is 2018 in fascist America, and this is what we get. So, Jamal Khashoggi, I don't care what his citizenship was. I don't care what his citizenship status was. He worked for the Washington Post. He was a journalist. We as Americans, the First Amendment is all about the free press. So our country was founded on a bunch of principles. And the first one is the free press. Again, this is not a repeat. I'm sorry. I understand that this sounds like a repeat. It's not. Like, the First Amendment comes before guns. Like, the guns is the Second Amendment. The amendment you guys read wrong? Well, that is not even before freedom of speech, freedom of expression, and the right for journalists to journal, so to speak. And Jamal Khashoggi lived here. He has kids who were born here. He has a wife. He has a family. And he was very critical of the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman's very critical of his regime. Even though, yeah, MBS is letting girls drive. But he's also killing female protesters in prison. So you have to understand that when there's some reform happening with this guy, there's also still a lot of corruption going on. And for the CIA to assess that he put the hit out on this journalist, it happened, and the American government isn't doing anything about it. They're letting it happen. Just, okay, cool. That's just insane. And if you think that doesn't embolden other countries to do similar things, you got another thing coming. It's crazy to me. It's crazy to me how you don't put any spin on it. Well, the only spin is, well, you know, we're making $400 billion off them in an arms deal or something. Fact check. No, you're not. It's $12 billion. And it's $12 billion. The only reason I know that is because when MBS was at the White House, and they have, you know, those big boards that you, like, do a science project on? When MBS was handing the board to Trump with the plans it had on it, it said $12.5 billion. It said it right there. Like, everybody can just Google that picture. It did not say $400 billion. That's not a thing. Also, you want to talk about, and again, we don't cover the tweets, but the little driveway press conference bullcrap he does. Oil prices are so low. Let's attack that from a couple of angles. First of all, according to, what is it, Fortune or is it Forbes? Fortune. Thanksgiving 2018, gas prices are the highest they've been on Thanksgiving in 4 years. That's A. So A, lie. B, Saudi Arabia does not set the price of oil. They don't, they are the world, OPEC sets the price of oil. Okay, you might think, well, Jay, he meant we get a lot of oil from them. No, we make more oil than they do. So, again, it's not real. Saudi Arabia has nothing to do with oil prices. I don't know why we're selling arms, $12 billion in arms to the country that was home to the people that flew planes to the World Trade Center. Nobody ever wants to talk about that. And also, you can have a transactional agreement with a country, and you could still condone, you can still not condone murdering a journalist in a consulate and dismembering him with a bone saw. And also, if you're gonna condone that behavior, can you just maybe call the guy and say, hey, listen, MBS, my man, we're gonna, in public, say that, you fucked up. Because that's what we gotta do to keep face. Can you at least lie to us? I mean, you're lying. It's not like, oh, he can't lie to us because he's so honest. This is a guy that's literally never told the truth, except when he says, we're sticking by him because of the money. It's insane. It's insane. For America not to be defending a journalist that was murdered. America, the place founded on freedom of expression, freedom to express yourself and have opinions. Jamal Khashoggi was an opinion that was one that was not fond of the Saudi Crown Prince, Mohammed bin Salman. MBS. MBS has also said, remember last year when he said he has Kushner in his pocket? Well, Exhibit A, right here. And again, it all goes back to the Qatar blockade. That happened because Qatar wouldn't bail Jared Kushner out of 666 Fifth Avenue. All of a sudden there's a blockade. All of a sudden some Qataris want to buy this. When the Saudi, traveling consulate, whatever, the traveling force, when they come, they stay at Trump hotels. They buy Trump properties at double the price. Seth Abrams had a brilliant thread about it that I read on last week on Jay Pork's podcast. Jay Pork's Presents the Thread Count. It has to do with George Nader. Zamel. There's a guy named Ben Zamel. It's a whole thing. And maybe we'll re-up it on this week's episode of the Jay Pork's podcast on the Jay Pork's Presents the Thread Count section of the podcast. I think we might have to, because it's just... It's sad. It's sad what we've come to. And how is standing by Saudi Arabia murdering somebody who works in America, how is that America first? We're relying on Saudi Arabia. We don't want to get them mad because we don't want them to not give us oil we don't need, and they don't even set the prices. Again, it's just... And then when you say, oil prices are low, it's like a tax cut. It's not. You know what's like a tax cut? A tax cut. And you know what's like oil prices? Oil prices being the highest they've been in 4 years on Thanksgiving. And I'll admit, during the run-up in 2016, I may have said that in a year gas would be $5 a gallon. So, again, more hyperbole. Nobody got hurt in that scenario. But at the same time, my prediction, although slower, is going to come through. Gas is going up. Morale is going down. The United States standing in the world is no longer that of a power. I mean, people look at us and they laugh. They laugh at us. Look what we did. There was actually... This actually happened. And I know I just sit here in awe every week of it. Every podcast. And I know, sometimes I'm rolling, sometimes I'm on a topic, and I'm boom, 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 boom. And then all of a sudden I get to it, and I'm just like, wow. I don't believe this happened. But it did. It did happen. And you know what? My Aunt Esther just wrote a letter to me talking... No, not to me, to every member of the family. Talking after the synagogue shooting, And I don't have... I mean... I'm not going to read it because there's probably too many big words in it for me to stumble upon, and she's an educator and she'd be mad at me if I read like a 5-year-old, so I'm not going to do that. But the point of it is that, you know, she was talking about she came over here on a boat from Germany, you know, because, you know, concentration camps, and it was like, you know, World War II and Hitler, and was sitting over here in America, and they actually elected the guy that has Hitler speeches on his nightstand. Like, have people not been paying attention? I have this thing where I think that there's way too many Hitler TV shows and Hitler books, you know, that make me feel comfortable. You know, there's way too much around, and I think that maybe, you know, and then my girlfriend says to me, well, Jay, never forget, you know, that's what it is. And I'm like, all right, I feel that. If we have all this stuff around, the warning signs, then, you know, then maybe people won't, oh, no, they did anyway. So maybe we can take all the Hitler documentaries off Netflix now, because none of it actually mattered. Still voted for the Nazi anyway. So can I not see in my suggestions, Hitler's bodyguards? I'm not interested. Killed my family. And if we're not careful with what's going on in this country, it could happen again. Jay Porks, Dyze in your house. Hey yo, Jay Porks here, recording my own commercials as per usual. But I am here to tell you about going to patreon.com/JPorks, and you have the opportunity to help support Least Coast Radio by becoming a Least Coast Radio head. How do you do that, you say? Well, there are 3 different tiers to choose from, where you can find yourself bonus content, bonus features from the Jay Porks podcast, from Dyze in your house, from all things Least Coast Radio. Now, what are those features? Well, they're bonus shows. They're getting shows early. They're getting exclusive artwork mailed to the address of your choosing monthly. You can interact with all the hosts here on Least Coast Radio. You can get shout-outs on the podcast. Behind the scenes stuff. That's on Dyze in your house and the Jay Porks podcast. You get them both here on Least Coast Radio. Dyze in your house is usually the primer at the end of the week. The Jay Porks podcast is the long show. What we do at the beginning of the week to get you going, to take in everything that happened. But I need some help. And how you can help Least Coast Radio is by following us on Twitter at Least Coast Radio, going to patreon.com/JPorks, becoming a Patreon, becoming a Least Coast Radio head. And, you know, if you don't want to do any of those things, you can smash that subscribe button on iTunes or YouTube. And, you know, you can, it wouldn't hurt. It wouldn't hurt to share the podcast with your friends. So keep it locked to Least Coast Radio for the least heard voices. We're here fighting fascism, saving democracy, but we're also going to have a little fun. Keep it locked.